All right, Megan, welcome back to the show for the how manyth time? I don't even know.
A lot. It's been amazing.
It's a lot. This show is a big part of your life, actually. Anybody that hasn't met you yet, should know that you're a huge part of this show. You've been working on this show with me for like what? I don't know, a long time.
I think 170 episodes at this point.
I love it. Well, I'm glad you're here because we're going to talk about threads, but specifically threads for artists because you are an artist in addition to the work that you do at Fun Love Media, which actually I kind of consider a lot of the work you do at Fun Love Media to be art as well, just its own version of it, right?
Oh,
But threads is new still, even though it's been quite some months since it's been out as we're recording this in the fall of 2023. But it is still new and you seem to be loving it whenever you're working on your brand for your like your artist account. You have that specific account for what you do. So if you will, let's just rewind really quick and let everybody know what kind of art that you do, and then we'll dive into like what you're loving about threads.
awesome. I do wood burned art, which is called pyrography, and I specialize in custom pet portraits. And I've been doing that as a side hustle for a minute, since 2017 on Instagram. And I love Instagram. I think collectively people our age like Instagram. So when Threads came out, I hopped on board and I was like, yes, I never even had a Twitter before Threads, but I hopped on Threads because I liked Instagram so much. I was like, well, worth it. And I'm really trying to hustle and grow my personal brand with my wood burned art. I'm trying to do all the things. So I hopped
Right.
on Threads early.
Yeah. Well,
One of
so for
those
someone
people.
for anyone listening that's not familiar, explain because you're talking about Instagram. So explain how Instagram and Threads what they had like they're connected, right? So it's all kind of intertwined.
Yes, yes. It's the same company, owned by Meta, and it's their response to Twitter. Was all sorts of chaos at Twitter, and we don't have to go into that drama right now. But I think that Instagram decided to create Threads as a response to that, and as a response to people just still wanting a Twitter-like sphere, but not liking how Twitter was being led. And when Threads hit, it just came on like wildfire, at least in my world, the artistry world.
Yeah. Well, and that's cool too because when you and I were chatting about how we were going to talk about this on the show, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize because I'm not in that world, and so I didn't realize how popular it's becoming and how much kind of almost traction or engagement or like action you're getting as an artist on Threads specifically. So okay, so we know what Threads is. It's similar to Twitter. It's just Meta's version. It's linked to Instagram, so I think that part's pretty cool. So if you already have a strong presence on Instagram, then you're at an advantage in Threads because it'll prompt you, right? Like when you set up the Threads account, it's like, now do you want to follow everyone that you follow on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
And a lot of
right.
people are going to say sure, why not, right? So that means that a lot of your followers will automatically kind of like come with you to Threads, which
Yes.
I think that's so smart, right? So what's do you have like, tell us your like plan of attack, like do you have a strategy, how often are you posting, what are you posting on there, what are you not posting on there? Just give me the whole rundown of how you're handling Threads as an artist.
Gosh, when I first came on the scene, I mean, I think everybody was just like posting up stuff and just throwing stuff at the wall. And it was
Yeah.
literally like the wild, wild west of social media. It was wildly random and people didn't know what to post there. They didn't even like, do we call it a thread? You know how on Twitter it's called a
Yeah,
tweet?
yeah.
Like people are like, what's the jargon? Like no one knew what was happening. And I think everybody got these like massive dopamine hits when they first joined because all of your Instagram followers, if you've been building a brand on Instagram and you have warm leads there, automatically followed you on Threads. So you're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's been a minute since I've gotten this influx of followers this fast. It was great.
Yeah.
And then there was a lull. I think a ton of people created their Threads account, and forgot about it.
Yes.
I didn't. I was posting there fairly regularly, and I am approaching Threads because it's been a few months now, similar to how I approach Instagram stories. It's like behind the scenes of an artist's mind.
Okay.
And for me, that's weird, random thoughts. And I try to keep, I try to keep, I don't know, 75% of it, I really, in some way, shape, or form, try to link it back to my personal brand as a wood burning artist. Something about what I'm working on, what's on the easel today, what medium I'm working with. But I guess the biggest thing about Threads for me is the conversations, the organic conversations. It's like the early days of Instagram, where like you could just post one static photo and you didn't have to do any other shit and you could just be completely authentic and have these real, true relationships form. And Threads
Yeah.
has that vibe. It's completely amazing and authentic and raw and fun.
Hopefully it stays that way. That'd be great.
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen any like ad sponsored action. I've seen some changes on Instagram, on my Instagram main feed. Like the first post when I open up the app usually is a sponsored ad, and that just grosses me out. But I haven't seen any of that on Threads. I haven't seen any hashtag bullshit. And I know I shouldn't say that because I'm a social media manager and I work in marketing and hashtags, blah, blah, blah. But there's none of that. It's just like really good
Yeah.
conversations, and you get to see inside the mind of these artists. You get to see their work typically, and it's not until later that you see how many people are following them, or it's just this
Yeah.
unadulterated introduction to people in the creative community.
Right. Well, and you mentioned hashtags. I mean, the last time I checked, they weren't even working on Threads, right? Like, it's not
No,
even a thing.
not
They
even a
don't,
thing.
I mean, as of right now, maybe it'll change in the future. Who knows? But like, we're in the fall of 2023, and like, if you type in a hashtag artist, it's not going to work. Like, it's
Right.
not going to become an active link the
No,
way that a hashtag would on other platforms. So you don't have to worry about it.
no.
I mean, I guess you're really leaning on if you want to be more searchable and people discover you, you obviously have to be showing up, you have to be posting, but then also, like you were saying, like conversations, commenting on other people's stuff. And then
Yeah,
I guess like in your caption, you can use certain words, keywords, right? That
yeah.
might kind of tell the algorithm, like, oh, so she's talking about wood burning. And then it might mean it shows to someone else who likes that sort of thing.
And that's exactly what's happening. It's just keyword rich captions that are like mini blog posts, and you could be as nerdy as you want. But the more that you engage on threads and comment on other people's stuff, the more organic followers you're going to get that I'm finding are highly targeted warm leads. Like people who are, I'm totally meant for them, they're totally meant for me. And because Threads is linked to my Instagram, I'm having so many people funnel from Threads to my Instagram and tap the follow button on my Instagram. And I'm not posting the
Oh,
same content.
nice.
Some of the content overlaps, but the Threads content I'm posting is just wild sometimes, I swear. Like I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. But I like that sort of fuck it attitude Threads has right now.
Right. Yeah. Just do whatever and see
Just just just
and play with it. It's kind of playful, right?
it's
Like kind of
very
wild and
playful.
playful.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
the organic reach is insane. I got 52 new followers in 24 hours, which has been a fucking minute since I've gotten that many followers.
That is not real easy. In 2023 has not been easy to get 52 followers in one day
Yeah,
for like anybody.
if you've been making content for a while on social media, you know it is a rough out there right now. So when I
Yeah.
am seeing that on threads and I'm seeing people actually funnel through, actually hit that follow button on my Instagram and watch my Instagram stories, I am just over the moon because I think we can get really frustrated as artists and creatives making content, making the art, doing all the fucking things, and you're not seeing that growth. And I think Threads right now is really where it's at for artists.
Right. That's so cool. So, okay, so comparing to your Instagram for which is Happy Camper KC, everybody, and we'll of course put that in the show notes, happy with an I. But So I know over there that your posts on Instagram are very video heavy, but you also do memes and sometimes you do photos. What about on Threads? Are you mixing that up as well, the different types of posts, video, photos, and stuff like that? Or are you finding that something else is better
Mm,
on Threads than what works on Instagram?
Actually, text only posts on my Threads account are performing well. Like when I propose a question,
Nice.
so it's really stress free if you don't want to be in front of the
Oh,
camera.
nice.
And those are
Right.
performing well for me. But if I'm doing a carousel post on Instagram, that's just the swipe through pictures of a finished work of art. I'm also posting that on Threads, but
Yeah.
I'm not really cross posting my Reels content to Threads. Um,
Yeah.
it just, it's just, I don't think it's meant for that. Some people are doing videos, but it gets
Sure.
cropped oddly in Threads. A video usually gets cropped down to like a square-ish, and if you haven't formatted it right, you can cut your head off,
Yeah.
you know. So I don't really cross post that
Yeah.
stuff. But I really try to make my content on all the platforms relatively similar, same theme, same wheelhouse, same messaging, but every single app that I use to promote my personal brand as an artist is just slightly different based on the platform. So Threads, I'm doing a lot more conversations, text heavy stuff, and really, really taking the time to engage with the community of people I want to engage with. I'm using Threads as a community resource because I love other artists, of course. I mean, honestly, other artists are like my people, but I'm not necessarily there to sell. I'm just there to give people a peek behind the scenes, and all of the tools are there that should they want to funnel and follow me on Instagram and see more content and learn more about me and what I do as an artist, fucking great.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, that's fantastic for your business and your network growing and all the
Mhm.
things. Okay, so before we wrap this up, so somebody that's like, okay, Megan, cool, fine. I'm gonna go and get on fucking Threads, one more thing.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a little hesitant and whatever, and they don't know what to do. But they love the idea. I love the idea also of the text only post because it's so simple,
Mhm.
especially if you like to write. Like, wow, you could just write a couple of sentences and like that's a whole post. What would you say to that person to dive in? How should they start? If they want to write, should they write things that they wrote on Instagram and use that, or should they do some, I mean, give somebody some kind of tips to get
Oh
started?
yeah. If you wrote a whole caption on Instagram and you use that caption in a pop-up text on Reels and TikTok, cross post that as a thread, you know? Break it up
Yeah.
into smaller segments and really just dive into it. Make sure that it's keyword
Yeah.
rich, which is works across all of these social media apps. Like, how do you want people to
Right.
find you? Put those fucking words in there and it will help you get some exposure. So, repurposing what you've already made, you can even go back to older posts that you've done on Instagram and turn those into a typed out thread, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have
Okay.
to start from
Cool. And
scratch.
then right. Yeah, no, I love that. It's so satisfying to like use something that you created and use it in different ways. It feels so good
Yes.
as a content creator to be able to do that. Okay, and then my final question for you is I'm just curious how often you're posting. I know everybody's going to be
Yeah.
different because I know for me, I've just told myself, Brittany, you have to at least post something on Threads once a week. You have so much content you're posting everywhere
Right.
else. Just freaking pick something and put it there. So that way my account isn't dormant and it's still some sort of activity while I'm trying to navigate it. But I'm curious how often you've been
I'm
posting.
posting a little more often than you, I think. I think you post once a week. Um, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you my number.
No, I
Let's
love it. I
see.
want to know.
One, two, three, four.
It's like it's like the how many people you slept with
Oh
number.
God,
Like I don't want to tell you my
don't tell you my.
number. This is very
Don't
serious.
fucking judge me with how many things I post on Threads. I would. Okay, so let me go back. I'm probably at 20 threads for a week, 15 threads.
Right.
Um,
Well, but with text only, that's actually quite feasible. You're not overthinking it. You're going in there, you're typing in
yeah,
the thing, and you're
yeah.
posting.
It's
And that's how a lot of people approach Twitter. They post multiple
Yeah.
times a
Yeah.
day, you know?
Well, and I think I already don't have a filter. So it's perfect for me. It's absolutely
Yeah.
perfect. Like I will literally be in the shower and be like, I will get out of the shower and post a thread. I'm like, that was a funny thought, or that would be a good question for my audience or whatever. I would love to know what people say about this, but it's just so great. You don't have to always be posting about your brand. You can just build a community organically and quickly and not from scratch because all of your Instagram followers are already there. Your bio comes over when you open the account. I did want to say one important thing about Threads that I learned is if you delete your Threads account, it deletes your Instagram. So if you create a Threads account, do not delete it. Do not close it because you will lose your Instagram. The more you know.
That is crazy. That scares me. Like, no,
Your face.
don't touch the Threads account. Holy
Don't fucking
crap.
do it. If you open it, fucking leave it open.
Leave it. Just leave it.
But
Let it sit
but I
there.
do think
Okay.
that you should go
All
into
right.
all these new
Good.
apps and at least make an account for your personal brand. Claim
Yeah.
that handle so nobody else tries to like
Yeah.
make a fake account of you. Just go in there and at least make it and just start there.
Right. I agree. I agree. At least go ahead and grab it. Um, okay. Thanks,
You're welcome.
Megan.
Thank you.
Everybody, and it's the same handle, like account name on Threads, right? So like they let you keep the same
Yes, all the
thing.
same.
So Happy Camper KC, Happy with an I, is also on Threads, and we'll put the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for being on the show
Hey,
again,
thanks,
babe.
girl. Talk to you later.